Hi, you are listening to Raw-ganism, a flowcast where we question everything we think we know and don't know, like why do we do the things we do? How can we unlearn to relearn? It's about some personal stories, low moments, funny adventures, nutrition, mental and physical health. Anyways, big questions like how the hell do we do this thing called life? Stay tuned. I like how you sipped your mug.
Yeah.
And then I unmuted the mic at that point.
Let me do it again.
Yeah, that good coffee. This is that tea, but we're going to bring some good coffee to y'all.
Instant coffee.
Instant coffee.
That part, okay?
Yeah.
That's the best part when it's instant. I'm just kidding.
Instantaneous. Instant. Nescafe, instantaneous, It is to be instantaneous. Instant coffee.
It aligns.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome back, everyone,
Welcome
to Raw-ganism. So, two interesting things we're going to do today is one, give a recap on how our cleanse is going, and two, we have a very interesting topic with a very amazing guest. We will get to that, but yeah, firstly, let's dive into.
Wait. We need to.
Am I rushing things?
No.
Oh, let's introduce you now.
We should introduce Victoire now because, she'll probably ask questions. She did say she has questions.
My bad, Victoire.
For the cleanse, yeah. So
It's all good.
So we can do that. Hi, Victoire.
Hello. Please pause this thing because I want to laugh so badly.
Just laugh. It's good.
Michelle, pardon. We would have paused this thing.
I'm not cutting this shit off. This is live. I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
Just be yourself.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, Victoire.
Victoire,
how are you?
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for bringing me in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for being here. And it's funny because what was it before we started all this? I had told you that I wanted to do kind of like a podcast thing, right? And then I told you I would be back with mics, and to the people who are listening, I brought back the mics, and I was very serious. And now we're here with 3 mics, so I did my thing. It was very serious.
That.
Yeah, she kept her word.
Everything that I manifested.
Yeah, 2 days after, I already ordered everything from online. I swear to God.
Yeah, goal oriented.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Sometimes you spend too much time
thinking.
Yeah,
instead
you just
of
have
doing.
to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
You could be jogging in place.
Yeah, and that's funny because a lot of the time I'm like, oh, no, but I'm saving money to do this and
Yeah.
that, and then I go buy something that's like $300-400. That's gonna get me to start something, and I'm like, oh wow, that's when you realize your priorities are like, no, you could actually spend that money on that thing now, but you're choosing not to, because if you can go and buy the mics, right? It's like
or out of I think in that spectrum, when it comes to finances, a lot of people will try to hold on to what they have without realizing that in order to make money, you have to spend money, So if you want to have a successful podcast, invest inside the equipment, and it's like, oh, well, I don't want to spend $1,000 on this one. It's just like you're limiting your opportunity to make more than $1,000, So if you invest the $1,000, you have a successful podcast. If you feel like you could bring something new and dynamic for listeners, and you have the right equipment, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
Invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, invest in yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Victoire, we're so happy to have you here and to, chime in on our very interesting topic. So don't get shy and awkward, but just give a little synopsis about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Victoire. People call me Victoria as well. And also Sarah, that's my professional name.
See, I told you.
Yes.
Sarah.
I have
What's wrong with
legal
Victoire?
first names. But call me Victoire, okay? I love it. You know what I mean?
Victoire.
Victoire.
I like that.
Not Victor, Victoire. Okay?
Victoire. You have to do that
in French, okay?
And I'm living my life, hustling every day. I'm a social worker by trade, by profession. But apart from that, I'm just a human being,
Period.
Taking it day by day.
Period.
That's
I love
good.
that.
That's enough. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
a hustler, but like a worker, like I work. I'm not.
She's like, I don't sell
pulling
drugs,
bricks.
guys.
You know what I mean? I wake up
I'm
every
not
day.
pulling out Glocks. Not that kind of hustling.
Like I'm determined. I'm disciplined. Yeah,
she is.
She's a hard worker for real.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Well-achieved woman. That's what we like.
Yeah, we like that. We love that. As a matter of fact. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. See, it's simple.
Yeah.
Simple. That's all we need. Yeah. So people get a little image.
Get a little taste.
Yeah, they get a little taste. But okay. So let's quickly go into our 2 weeks, other 2 weeks cleanse. Because right now at this point we're end of January. We started on the 1st of January, and it's currently the 6th. So it's like the 2 other weeks now that we're gonna quickly
give a little recap on.
Yeah. So do you wanna?
Yeah, sure. I'll start first. I mean, so the past 2 weeks. I've been able to dabble in other foods that, were not in alignment with what we should be eating, right? Like we went to, there's this raw kind of cafe that we like to go to called Eternal Abundance. If you're in Vancouver, go check out Eternal Abundance. Just amazing food. Commercial Drive. And they have lots of raw options. And so we just love going there because when your diet is like, you're raw or you're fruitarian, your options become limited, unless you're vegan. Now they can make anything vegan apparently, but when you're strictly raw, you don't have a lot of options. So we find ourselves going there quite often, and I love it. So I tried, they were having like a hot chocolate kind of festival. So I tried this because I love chocolate and orange. I love chocolate orange. Everything else with chocolate, garbage.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
chocolate
either white.
orange.
I don't. It's not my favorite.
It doesn't sound.
It's good.
Yeah.
I love it.
For me, it's like chocolate and mint is the same as chocolate and orange. It's like,
I love chocolate and mint. Are you crazy?
ever,
what?
What? You like chocolate milk?
No, chocolate and mint.
Sorry.
Wait,
Sorry.
What?
You do?
You don't like that?
No.
Do you? Actually?
I'm looking at you differently now.
Well,
I'm just
I love
kidding.
chocolate and nuts too. So does that work at almonds?
Chocolate and nuts.
Chocolate and mint is different from chocolate and orange, but I guess similar in the aspect where it's just like it's a diet. It's a very distinct taste,
bitter, right?
So it's like white chocolate, regular chocolate, or chocolate orange for me. Love that. Yeah. So I tried the chocolate orange hot chocolate, and I'm not a fan of hot chocolate at all. But because it was chocolate orange, I'm just like, give it to me.
And you took it with oat milk, regular like oat milk from the
because they couldn't use they
couldn't use their
almond milk.
Yeah,
the house milk, yes.
Yeah, they couldn't use their house milk, so you asked for oat milk.
Yeah. And it came with like a date bar, and there was like grain on it,
granola,
like a granola. Yeah, but it was soft. But anyways, obviously it's not 100% raw. There's the oat milk, and although I prefer their in-house like raw milk, right? So I had that. And there was something else, but I for some reason in this moment I can't recall. But it
was probably the nut tea place the day after we went to.
Yes.
Where they make their own. So there's this place in Kitsilano. It's like a bubble tea place, but they make all their milk. Based off of walnuts, like what's it called, hazelnut together with like cashews. So they make like their own. Every milk they have, they make it in-house every day. Yeah, it's really good. So that helps us because then we can go there.
We could enjoy certain things.
Yeah, we can't get it now with the pearls, but at least we can have it because they make their own milk. But the thing is, at the same time, keep in mind that if you take a drink, right, you should have it with less sugar or zero sugar because the sugar
bubble
they
tea
use
is very sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So
is this a different restaurant that you guys went to, a different spot?
This is a different place called Nut Tea. In Kitsilano.
Before I have a question for you, Ashley. Sorry, I'm going back. You said something about raw from the other place, right?
Eternal Abundance.
Yeah. So what do you mean by raw? Because not everybody knows what that means for plant-based.
Unprocessed. It's like unrefined sugar. So for example, the milk, right? It's processed when you buy it inside the stores. So
there's like
even the oat milk as well.
Yeah, they add oils like.
either sunflower or canola.
That's
most of
crazy
the time.
when you think about it. Oil
Yeah.
and milk.
Yeah, because you have to have something that binds everything together.
Yeah.
Right, so it doesn't separate. So in the oat
It's
milk
sitting
you
on
buy,
the shelf for a while.
yeah. So you need to have a conservative in there, and then you need to have like the oil to make sure it's like it stays all together. It doesn't separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when you buy like the oat milk, if you look at the ingredients list, it's like blah 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 blah. And usually they add vitamins in there. Whereas when you talk about like raw nut milk, it's basically like as if you make it at home, right? I'll soak some walnuts, almonds, or whatever, maybe even just walnuts, and then you blend it with maybe dates.
Okay.
And then that's it. You have like a milk without additives.
So it's like raw, like natural.
Yeah, it's natural, uncooked, natural,
Okay.
nothing added. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thanks for clarifying.
So yeah, back to what I was saying about those two drinks is that there were some elements inside those things that weren't obviously raw, and so weirdly enough, around that time period, I developed a lot of like mucus. Like I thought that I was getting sick, but I didn't feel sick. I just, the typical symptoms, like you're kind of blowing your nose a little bit, you're kind of coughing. It's not a dry cough, you're coughing up mucus, right? But I'm just like, I don't feel sick. I just feel like I have this mucus that just wants to come out. And I know Michelle's educated me on like the development of mucus when you eat certain foods that actually they cause inflammation, right? And then simultaneously, my throat was kind of hurting. Like I was telling Michelle, there's like this kind of like pain from kind of under my ear to like my tongue, like a little on my throat. And I thought that maybe, I really must be getting like sick with something because it's like a little sore. And so over time, I started to like analyze in the mirror, like what's going on with my tongue, like is it infected? Is there something going on? So I was like analyzing it, and I was able to pinpoint, well, before I did this, I just had a kind of like intuitive response to wear my mouth guard, because previously I used to clench my teeth in my sleep because the bitch was stressed as fuck all the time. Sorry, I gotta stop cussing on this podcast on the Flowcast. But I used to clench my teeth a lot. Yeah. And so, went to the dentist, got the mouth guard, whatever, or sleeping guard. And I haven't used it in so long. So I just had the intuitive response to just like, let me like test something out. I wore the mouth guard for a couple nights. After the first night, I realized the pain in my tongue, like it stopped, right? Because I was just like, maybe let me just kind of protect the tongue from the teeth. Like I just had a feeling that maybe I was like, I accidentally bit it or something. So after the second day of looking in the mirror, like analyzing it, I was like poking my tongue, and I was like, I found the pinpoint and where the pain was actually coming from. So it wasn't like I was sick or like my throat was sore. It's highly possible that I bit like my like a little piece of my and it caused that. Now, like I said, we've been eating very clean, and then I had foods outside of it, right? And it was just weird that kind of happened at the same time because I was not clenching my teeth at all, and all of a sudden I started to the point where like I accidentally bit my tongue, And so one night I was just looking, before bed, I was looking at my mouth guard, and I was just analyzing to be like, I was like, I realized that on one side of the mouth guard, I could tell which side I bite more on, and it's the same side that the pain, like where my tongue is on the left, my left at least. And I was like, so I was biting. So then I was explaining it to Michelle and being like, it's weird how like I kind of thought that I was getting sick. I had the development of mucus. All of a sudden, I started grinding my teeth out of nowhere, and I was asking myself, I'm just like, are you stressed about school? I'm just like, no, I'm not stressed at all. Family, I'm not stressed. Like, relationship, no, I'm not stressed. I was like, I'm genuinely not feeling stressed.
That's right. What's
So
happening?
I really feel like just, having the processed oat milk, there's obviously sugar in there, refined sugar, and it definitely triggered something.
That made you like...
That made me clench, and throughout, for example, we had our guests over last night. I still have mucus, you know, like every time it's like I step outside even just a little bit, it's like the mucus still develops. Even till this point, like I have to like clear my nose, you know, clear my throat, because I keep on.
So, well, you haven't done it a lot. Outside
Minor.
of these two things, yesterday you did have what? You had what your friend brought over.
Yeah, I had some of the ground beef, not a lot, but a little bit of the corn chips or the tortilla chips, and then the sushi. Not the raw one, the one that was
With rice?
Yes.
You had okay.
Yeah, so I'm expecting that. Okay, I might develop like the mucus might persist for a couple more days until I actually
go back to
yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? What's happening with her is because when you're cleansing, so obviously you're not eating a lot of these foods, and so your body gets to the point where you're very clean, right? And you're getting rid of a lot of the mucus inflammation in your body. So what happened immediately after you start eating back these foods is that all of a sudden your body's super clean, not used to it anymore, and then you're adding foods that are acidic to your body.
That's what it is,
Right? Yeah. So now you have like a little inflammation in the body, and then mucus gets created to fight the inflammation. And so immediately after, she starts having like a runny nose, and it persists usually for 24 hours or something like this until it's like done. But if she continuously eats it, let's say for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, eventually the mucus, the body gets used to it.
Well, yeah,
and then you won't
adapt,
like.
right? Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean it's like the good food, right? Because if you eat the burger and you'll have the mucus, and then 2 weeks after it'll just be gone. But then you're still eating something that's bad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think like listening to what Ashley shared, it's like it's important to pay attention to the foods that you eat, but how your body responds to it. Even like something as simple as your tongue, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you may think it's like an illness, but it's just a reaction to an acid or I don't know, like an ingredient in the food, right? Which we don't often do, but just eat it because it tastes good. Or if something feels uncomfortable, we just keep, you know, chewing.
Yeah,
right.
Or
So
just people don't look at, and I think I've said this previously in one of the other episodes, that when you look at a burger, they're just seeing the bun, the cheese, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But they're actually, for example, when you go and you buy a product in the store like jam, right? It's like, okay, awesome. Like you don't flip it over and look at the contents, you know. So when people look at food, it's not common that they'll look at the contents. So if you're like buying a burger, it's like, oh, it's a burger, I'm gonna eat it. You're not thinking about like, oh, how much fat's in there, what kind of chemicals are in there, and how it's gonna affect your body.
and food is also relational for people, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time the food is
It's like a
very,
relationship with food, right? It's comfort or it's
it's very
psychological sometimes too.
Yeah, people who were we talking about it with? I can't remember, but it is usually very relational. It's like you associate food with people and meeting others, and it's like here in Vancouver, a lot of people are going to go outside, and usually they meet for food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because outside of food, there's what? Nature.
Yeah, you're gonna go hiking or swimming.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's very. I think that's what it is. We associate it with some like very emotional responses, like stress, love, happiness, whatever, and then we associate it with meeting people,
A community and connections.
Anxiety, whatever. Like a lot of people eat their feelings as well.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
So,
It's relational, right? So people get diagnosed with eating disorders because even on an individual basis, right? Like it's has some type of psychological effect for some people.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually when it comes to food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, the week after that, before this week was good. Like there was no change. Honestly, it was the same. I didn't experience anything. Like I was very, happy. Just into the groove. You know. No, I was ecstatic. Like fine, perfect. No issues. But this week, from like I don't know if sometimes you sleep a certain way or you have a certain like experience or whatever on like a Sunday or maybe during the weekend. And or maybe as small as sleeping late on a Sunday evening, and then you wake up and it's like your whole week is just what the fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? You feel stressed. You're always late. You started your week like this, so it feels like the rest of the week there's always something happening.
Yeah.
And so my week this week was kind of like, I kind of feel like tired. I had a hard time waking up at 5:30, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just be okay with myself and wake up a little later, even though I don't like it, because I realize if I'm up at 5:30, then it means by 8 I'm already doing a lot of other stuff, right? So if I wake up at 8, I'm like, I lost 2 hours and a half of all my stretching, my petting the cats. That's gonna take me time, so I can't, so it's just like I like waking up at 5:30. Since I took the habit, it's perfect. But this week I just found myself like, I don't know, it's not stress, it was like tiredness.
Is it like a bit of a slump, a little bit?
Yeah, but also like not as happy or excited, still good, but just it was like, oh yeah, I'm like and I didn't know why, but that's the thing now with food, because I'm experiencing this. So now I'm like, okay, I know that deep inside there's nothing that's bothering me. I'm very happy about having quit my job, which we talked about previously, and I'm at home. I'm focusing on my art, my website, like all of that. I'm looking for jobs, whatever. I'm not stressed at all, right? So I'm like, what is happening that creates this? And I'm like, I'm cleansing, I shouldn't really be feeling that way. But also I know there are some people, the first 2-3 weeks are fine, and then the third week or the fourth week you're still, that's when you experience some like discomfort or detox symptoms, right? And so I was like, okay, that like my mind is fine, it's just that I feel this tiredness, and I'm like, it must come from maybe, I don't know, killing the parasites, like I don't know, but I know it's not in my head. You know what I mean? And so it was a little already feeling like this is not comfortable, and so it made it a little harder for me to cope with the rest of the week, because it was like I don't want to feel that way, and I feel like I have no choice, and I'm doing all the right things, and so I was a little impatient and expecting more, but then it's fine, like if eventually I kind of like be like, okay, it's okay, I'm doing everything fine, it's probably just cleansing, getting rid of stuff, everything needs to come out, right? But so for me it was a little harder, and I did have some mucus after that the nut tea we had, just because I took the red bean milk, because I love like red bean milk. It's just so good. So if it's not taro, it's red bean. I don't know why.
Taro.
Or the sesame.
Or the sesame. I love the sesame, the black sesame too. And
There's
I had
a
it
banana
with
one
less
too.
sugar. Yeah. And then we took outside of the nut tea milk, you also got like a little bag of like 4 little mini cookies that are like vegan, but it was not with flour.
It still had sugar.
It still had a little bit of sugar, but it was but it was really good though. It was not like, when you read the ingredient list, it was very minimal. It was really good. It was actually
like 2 or 3 ingredients.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that we're cleansing, we're not having that, so obviously you get a reaction. But so that was my 2 weeks for me. It was great, and then it was not so great, but we're still killing parasites. Now Ash has been forgetting to take her parasite tea and shit tea. She needs to remember, she needs to stay consistent with that.
I love how you're using the Flowcast to call me out.
It's getting hot in
as
here.
if I don't hear this every single day.
Because I can't remember.
Public announcement,
I know.
okay?
PSA.
I can't remind you. It just it goes along with the other tea you're drinking, right? So you need to make sure you keep up at it.
Yeah, I understand. And just to add what you were saying about your experience, the 2 things that aligned for me was the sleep. It's just noticing how your sleeping pattern changes from eating the foods, because every single time I eat outside of our diet, I move around a lot in my sleep. Like last night, I moved around a lot.
Listen, this morning I woke up, okay? No, even yesterday before going to bed, Victoire, my belly is always flat, okay? Before going to bed, it's like I was 4 months pregnant.
Are you telling me? I'm feeling that way, you know what I mean?
No, listen. it's one thing, 'cause the way we're eating right now, right? Even when we go to that eternal abundance place, and let's say we get like a raw sandwich, okay? I can walk out of there if it almost feels like I didn't eat anything, but I feel like I feel like I ate something.
Yeah.
But it's not like you feel like heavy or you feel like
I'm bloated.
Yeah, exactly.
Itis, coma.
So it's like yesterday night. What the hell? I don't know what that. Maybe I ate a lot. Oh, we're not having nuts, right? Even during that cleanse, we're not having nuts. And when you make the raw sushi, you're using nuts as like a meat replacement or like a replacement for rice. And so it's a lot of nuts, right? And we're not having it, so it's like it's harder to digest as well.
Right.
And so my stomach before going to bed from flat to like I did not push it out. It was coming out. I was like, yo, and the whole night I couldn't sleep well because I felt, it's like, I felt full of shit. Sorry.
I hope you're able to shit it out.
This morning, yes, I did.
Yeah, which is good, right? You gotta
Gotta
come
use the
out.
shitter tea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's some good tea.
No, when you go to the bathroom, I was like, God. And now, whenever I eat something that, you're not used to it anymore, and you eat it, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's healthy. Oh my God, I can't.
Your body's like, bad idea.
I never used to have any, I didn't feel any type of bowel movement. You know, when you're getting ready to go to the bathroom, you feel that strong pull.
Yeah.
I never had that before, ever. So now, whenever I have something that's slightly out of my diet or whatever, or out of the cleanse diet, right, I feel like a strong push to the point where I can't move until it's done. You feel it.
You feel it, yeah.
And then you're able to go to the bathroom. But I would say for me, that's the most uncomfortable feeling, just because I'm like, yo, I don't want to feel like that. That's almost kind of painful. But then after that, once you do your thing, then you feel very light. But that part, you feel it moving.
And then, like, it's irritable.
Yeah, it is. It is very,
Okay, I have a confession to make.
I knew it. I knew. I think you know what? No.
Wait,
what are you? Okay.
Wait, let me finish, Linda. Wait, let me finish. Okay, so
I knew
Thursday. No, listen.
Yes.
Thursday, I tried some Indian sweets. Okay,
I knew it. Tell her I knew it.
Victoire, she knew it.
You were suspecting Ashley?
She's like,
but she didn't say anything?
She's like, what have you been eating? Like, when you go to school, I'm just like, nothing. I'm just having my
Michelle's
coffee.
radar is on.
Listen, because she was talking about mucus, and I'm like, the mucus should have been gone by now. What does it? Yeah. So now the mucus has been like.
Okay, well, just let me finish my confession.
Okay, I want to hear this
and then
confession.
you can forgive me. So on Thursday, I had some Indian sweets, right?
Who gave
and that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I had some Indian sweets, and then while we were home that night, right, I was having one of the worst stomach aches of my life. And I was pretending, like, I was like,
oh
Ashley,
my gosh,
act normal because Michelle's gonna know. But when I tell you that, I was just like, I'm just gonna, like, try. I'm like, these are really good, blah blah blah, and they were great, But I should have just had one. I had, a couple.
How many?
And I can't really recall, but maybe like 4. Maybe
and
5.
they're big too, the sweets. Is it like the round ones?
There's a round one. Yeah. There's a pistachio kind of one. When we're off the cleanse, I'll make you try. It's actually really, really delicious. And yeah, like all of a sudden, like we were chilling, watching a show or whatever. I don't know. We started talking about stuff. Yeah. Another topic, and I just felt like my stomach. I was just like, oh my God, like. Oh my God, I was just like, damn, every time I eat outside of the sink, it's just, my body's just like, don't, And it got so irritable to the point where it's just like, when I put the blanket on myself, I was just like, let me pretend like I'm staying warm. And
but you were in pain.
I was in pain.
Oh,
and
wow.
I warmed up the magic bag. And I like made it seem like I was warming up my hands, but really I had it against my stomach.
Oh, wow.
Because I was just like, and we were talking, and me, like I like to say I can't handle stomach pain. Like stomach pain is one thing that I can't. I need silence. I don't want to talk, nothing. But we were talking about an interesting topic, and I was just like, I got to continue talking. So, because Michelle's going to know. She's going to know, like, Ashley, what's wrong?
I knew it.
You knew something was up?
I knew.
You knew what though? What did you think?
She knew that I was dabbling.
Yeah. Because she was talking to me about something, and in the way she was telling her sentences, I was like, she must have ate something. And also the mucus coming out, I was like, the last time we had those two things, it was like almost a week ago. I'm like, there's no way. It would have happened immediately. 24 hours is done. You know what I mean? So on Monday, Tuesday, it would have been completely gone. So the fact that she still had mucus, I was like, she ate something. And she was like, no, I'm just talking about... I'm like, no, it sounds very like in the present moment.
It didn't feel like a safe space.
Yeah, you know, and
she's like, you can tell me. And I'm just like, I don't want to
You're
tell
like,
you.
no, yeah.
Okay, wait. Was I going to judge? A little bit, yeah, because...
You were going to judge.
Of course.
But it's okay, you know, you got to give people grace when it comes to this, because it's not easy, you know what I mean?
It's not
And there's a lot
It
of
wasn't-
temptation too, you know?
It wasn't even necessarily like temptation. Like, to be honest, going to classes in the morning, I do need something to be able to focus. I'm not getting coffee, you know, just to be like, oh, I just want coffee. I need to make sure I'm focused inside the lectures, you know. But outside of that, it's not. I don't feel temptation, you know. Like Victoire, you had your toast, the butter and avocado,
toast.
like burgers. I'm not craving any of those things. I really love the way that we eat, you know. But if I'm gonna if I want to try something, I'm still gonna allow myself to try it. But obviously, just what's the term I'm looking for? Just like knowing
in moderation,
moderation, like just have a little, you know, because if you introduce a lot of it to your system, then there's to be action. I'm sorry, okay, just say you forgive me.
I forgive you. The thing is, in another setting, like I don't mind at all, right? But it's just the fact that right now, technically, we're cleansing. Outside of the cleanse, if you technically outside of the cleanse, you eat anything you want,
right?
You know what I mean? It's just the fact that we're in a cleanse, and yes, you can step outside of it, but it's about just the commitment to cleansing or purging your body, right? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm like, do you know how hard it was yesterday for me to smell this beef thing with the corn cheese?
Because she's European.
It was good, huh?
Yeah, it smells really good. I tried a little bit of pizza and I was like, oh yeah, with pasta, that would have been great, right? Her friend's mom made it, right? Do you know how hard it was? Not hard. I don't like the term hard. Challenging it was for me to like smell it, and having tasted a little tiny bit of it, to not go there, you know what I mean? Because I'm really committed to trying to stay as clean as possible. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. We did go to that nut tea, and I had a drink with less sugar, right? Whatever, because but it's like for me, it's really much about the commitment, right? Because I know that if I want to, I can have those treats, right? But it's just that at that moment, that window I gave myself, I want to try my best not to go there, because I'm trying as hard as I can to like cleanse.
Just be committed.
Yeah, just be committed. So I'm not saying like I'm not disappointed and I'm not sad. Like, I'm just saying that because you're cleansing, yes, you should try to avoid trying these things. I'm not saying you can't outside of that. I'm just saying during the cleanse, it's best to avoid it.
You want to not to interrupt the cleansing process,
because it's going to make it. It's going to slow you down, one. And two, obviously the pains in your stomach are gonna be worse, right? Whereas when we stop the cleanse and you reintroduce nuts slowly and you reintroduce other types of foods, then your stomach will be more comfortable with handling it, and then you won't have as much pain like you experienced during this week or yesterday.
Putting two different things in your system at the same time. So it's kind of just like, but you know what? The reason I wanted to confess, because I think it's important to
confess.
I think it's important to point out.
She confessed.
Yeah, see, I'm honest. I wanted to point out two things. Like for someone on the outside listening who's considering going on a cleanse, that one, you might have experienced temptations, you know, and it's important not to punish yourself, because eventually you will get to a point where you're just like you will find yourself being committed and actually enjoying the process. So temptation, or just not necessarily being tempted, but making the choice to eat something else is part of the process as well. And the second thing is that once you do step out and you eat, I don't know, that beef or the cheese, to be honest, like you notice how like because you're cleansing, you're restraining from putting certain foods in your system. When you get a taste of the food in which it has like the sugar and stuff, you notice that it kind of like cranks up.
Yes.
They're kind of like, oh, I want to just like
more.
a little bit more.
Yeah, you want
know. So just recognizing that effect as well, I think is really important. And for anyone who does decide to go on somewhat of a cleanse, you will notice these things come up, and even just do it for just to see, go clean for like a month or even like 2 weeks, and then just decide to go dabble out, and then you'll see that effect.
You know what's funny is that when you eat the fruits and when you eat the vegetables, there's never any pain. How come there's never any pain?
And cravings too.
And cravings. But as soon as you add something else, you're gonna get a pain to get your body used to it. But for some reason, your body doesn't have to get used to the fruits and the vegetable. It just always passes. Well, I mean, it depends, right? You're eating a regular diet, right? So for you, if you start adding maybe more vegetables now and cutting out on the other things, you might experience somewhat of a stomach pain because your stomach is not used to getting as much fiber. So it's like it's gonna cleanse you, right? But in general, the fruits and the vegetables, they just go down. No problem.
It's easier to digest that, right?
Yeah. So it's
they're
crazy.
They're not processed. They're natural, right?
And just to add to that, some people, just based on their teeth, or even just like knowing how your body works, some foods you're gonna want to make it, whether it's vegetables, you're gonna want to make it in a certain way so that it's just easier for your system to digest. Yeah. So, that was the and then sorry, one more thing.
Another confession?
This is important. No, not another confession.
Oh, thank God.
Confessions. What's the Usher song? No, not a confession, but another thing I forgot to point out was the little bit of acne that I got.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just like, well, first I remember, like, I've never had acne, like for the teenagers going into puberty and stuff, who had I never had that. Okay, my skin, not to brag, but my skin's always been a little plickety plack.
Let's remind everyone that she sweats a lot too, and that's a great way to eliminate toxins. So she's constantly eliminating.
So with introducing those foods that I shouldn't have been having, I also noticed that, like I developed a little, not a lot, but a little bit of acne. It's just like, what is going on with my skin? Because
you had a little pimple right there.
I have a pimple right here as well. And it's like, well, first of all, I'm going to leave it because, when you try to pop it prematurely, you're just damaging your skin.
I did that. And
I've done that many times.
So just, that reaction as well, where it's just like, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, what you eat also impacts your skin, right? For 100%. Yeah.
So I'm just like, snap. So that's that was it for me. And
okay. Well, you are forgiven, my dear.
Are you sure? Is that genuine?
I want to slap you after. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Let me call the domestic abuse line.
Just don't suffer in pain next time.
There's a social worker
line. Not to make fun of that. Not to make fun of that.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, we're just kidding.
No violence here.
There's no violence. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's enter into our other subject for the day. Yes.
So, our subject for today, our topic is about body positivity, what that means on an individual level, and also what that tends to mean on a societal level. And we're going to try to, combat or critique or even just elaborate on some of these ideologies that we hold. So to be honest, I guess I want to open up the floor with first asking, whoever wants to answer, but asking, what is body positivity? Like, what is it to you, at least? I could go first if y'all want. Okay, so just setting up the platform for myself. I tend to do this, and I ask the question, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me just.
First, but never mind. I'm gonna just step in. Okay?
Let me just answer the question because I know best.
Because I'm very I'm a processor. I think a lot, so I need time to just reflect on my.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, to be honest, there's so many ways to define body positivity, but for me, just to keep it very simple, is body positivity for me is actually loving what I see and loving how that works. So this will relate to one of the ideologies that we're going to combat, which is, you know, the whole societal perspective on like, oh, what is body positivity? You have to love and accept yourself the way that you are, in which in some cases can be limiting to you, because to be honest, you could look in the mirror and be like, oh, like I don't accept these things. You could still love yourself, you know. I look in the mirror and be like, okay, well, I love myself enough to change these things that I actually don't like. Whether it's you find yourself too skinny, you find yourself a little more overweight, whether you want a slimmer stomach, but whatever it is, it's okay to be honest with yourself and be like, this is the image I would like to see myself in, and try to achieve it. Right now, it gets a little complicated when someone does that, but they're also using an image of someone else to try and achieve. Like you have to be able to look in that mirror and actually like what you see, and you know, and accept it. So body positivity for me is just me building my own image. You know, I don't want to build myself according to what celebrity, you know, look alike, and what this girl looks like. You know, I want to be unique, and when I look at myself, I want to be like, oh yeah, this is me. Yeah.
Okay. Victoire?
I'm processing.
Yeah. I see your process.
No, I agree with what what you just said, Ashley. For me, I would say body positivity is, you know, I think for me it goes back to like, you know, look, when you're completely naked in that state is like when you're really comfortable with your body, you know what I mean? And you're able to I wouldn't say love, but you're able to like your body, and you're also able to not like your body. You know what I mean? I think it's like if you don't like your body, it doesn't mean that you're not embracing your body. You know what I'm saying? You're just recognizing that the body has changes. It could look different tomorrow or even in a month from now. So for me, it's about, you know, when you take off your clothes and you're completely naked and you look at yourself, even without a mirror, and you like even feel it within yourself, not even how you look visually, but how you feel about your body, and you're able to feel comfortable. And for me, comfort is, you know, not, you know, when you wear certain, you know, outfits or clothing, you know what I mean? Not trying to cover, you know, nip and tuck, you know what I mean? For whatever reason that is, you know what I mean? But for me, it's just about embracing, literally, I know it sounds very cliche, but embracing your body when you love it, but also when you're not happy with it, you know what I mean? And being able to really wear your own skin, despite what anybody says or what the media, you know, portrays out there. And it's very hard to, you know, wear your body sometimes, even though it's your own body. That's that part, you know what I mean? So it's about how you feel about your body for me.
I think it's constantly like, I think it's what I like what you said, because it is true. It's not like, 100% you'll love everything about your body. It can't be like this. It has to, because no one's perfect, right? You have one arm that's longer than the other, one leg that's longer, you know, you're gonna have some things. So I do like the idea that it's just about making sure that you're able to recognize that you do like some things about your body and other things you are not necessarily okay with, but it's not like you're penalizing yourself or you're hurting yourself or you're saying, oh, that this is bad, I need to change that, or I need to do something about it. It's just you need to learn to love the aspects of yourself you also do not necessarily like. I like that. And
also when there's moments, I think that's the most important thing. It's like when there's times where you don't like your body, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not, once again, you're not positive about how you see yourself. It's just it's normal, right? I think it just goes back to normalizing that you're gonna have a different relationship with your body. And even for me, you know, listen, the body, you know, I'm just like, I love high-waisted jeans. Anybody who knows me, I love high-waisted jeans, but the last 4 months, the jeans are not looking good, you know, because I've grown a fupa, you know what I mean? It's there and it's very visible, you know? And I'm just like, damn, this wasn't me before, you know what I mean? I'm like, I thought I would never get a fupa.
So what changed? And to be clear, can you define what it is for people?
A fupa.
A fupa? Listen, for me, in my own words, a fupa is, you know, when you gain, I would say, like, fat around your midsection, right?
Okay.
Like your lower stomach. For me, it's the lower stomach, just around above my pelvic.
Okay.
I'm touching it right now. You know what I mean? I'm feeling it. You know what I mean?
She's feeling.
Literally. And so, as for me, somebody who's always I've always had an athletic build, and I've always had a flat stomach according to my body, not according to anybody else's body, but I know my own body, and it was flat according to what I had before, and I recognized, like, the weight gain in that area, and certain clothes that I love to wear, like high-waisted, just super uncomfortable, you know what I mean? And so in embracing my body, what I've done now is that I'm recycling my clothes. I'm not going to go buy new clothes, but I'm going to make what I have fit. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's good.
I know that sounds ridiculous, because I'm just like, you know what? The body's always going to change.
Yeah, no,
especially I fluctuate. I lose weight, I gain weight, I expand in size, I decrease. So it's like, let me find clothing that allows me to live through all those different stages of my body.
Yeah.
That's a good thing too, because for a woman especially, where like I see Ash a lot of the time during her woman cycle, right? It's like, oh no, like, oh, I look so like, no, I don't like it. Have I grown fat? And then I'm like, no, it's just that moment in the month. Like, it's just
because
that moment.
you know what? It's like when you're used to seeing yourself in a certain way, once there's like a change, even though, like, to be honest, some I have gotten used to it, but at the same time, it's still kind of almost like a mind fuck. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm like, well, I have to just remind myself. I'm just like, I'm on a very great diet. I'm consistently exercising, and it's just that time of the month, Ashley, and it's okay. So even for me, I tend to switch up my dressing a little bit just to make myself feel a little comfortable, because let's just be honest, okay, this is not TMI. We know that during a woman's period, you know what I mean, her breasts are gonna get
the
swollen,
boobs are get swollen.
You're gonna get bloated.
Larger,
the hips,
bloated.
So I at those moments, like, I try not to wear tight things, especially tight tank tops, because of the compression. It's very uncomfortable, So just making those adjustments so that you feel comfortable while you're navigating this kind of uncomfortable, time of the month.
Now I was just thinking, because right now we're talking about us, and all three of us are women, but then this whole body positivity things, one thing I think we were talking about with Ash is the fact that it almost always applies to women. Like in advertisements, like even models, right? A lot of the time, especially in the 2000s, right? A lot of the models were like the slim build, and then to counter that, people were like, oh no, this is really bad for the image. We should really make people just love themselves the way they are, and include more
men.
And show more of the models that are not overweight, but just like a little thicker, they have more skin on them. Different body sizes, because it didn't look healthy, to be honest, and not all women look like this, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, but when you look at advertisements, etc., like,
lots are for women.
It's mostly women. It's not...
That is the target,
Yeah, it's not men, even though I would assume that they're included in there. It's just that I actually never thought about it before, where it's like, I never see guys being touched by any of the advertisement when it comes to like clothing or body positivity. Not ever. It always is
focused on women.
Even in modeling. I'm not to say that there aren't plus size male models, but I've like on like what we see is usually like in inclusion of plus size female models.
Yes, that is true.
As almost as if like, oh well, plus size female model is going to be more accepted than plus size male model. You know what I mean?
I think it's also because I think there's maybe a more focus on women, because we as women typically, we are our biggest critic, but also amongst like other women. You know what I mean? Like I'm assuming, just from my perspective, that I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think that women were more likely to judge one another as opposed to men based on like our body size or our body shape. You know what I mean? Like we're not, when I say we, not all of us, but I'm saying in general, we may constantly, analyze or critique, you know what I mean? Whether it's like vocally or just internally, you know what I mean? And so we're often comparing, you know what I mean? Well, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at myself, you know what I mean? And this is how I should look like, or this is maybe I should, like, whatever your thought is. But we often, you know, compare and critique, right? And then we construct that up in our own selves, right? So yeah.
So I guess just going off of that, it does kind of seem that women are a little more susceptible to these types of thoughts, and that's why it makes us an easy target. Yeah,
and that's why when you go to the department store or whatever, I'll say clothing store, same thing. When you go to the clothing store, if you notice, there's a whole section for women
and a small ass section
collection,
for men.
this collection, and there's fitness. There's like.
Yes.
Stay slim fit, whatever.
The boyfriend jean, the slim cut jean, the booty press jean, all the jeans.
Why is that?
Even when you go to Zara, it's like the whole store is women, and then one.
Like, and you're like, where's the men's section? Oh, it's the down in the basement to the left, and you see it's just like a little like 2 by 2 feet.
And that's just a lot about how that even touches on, you know, like body positivity or body image, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it that we reach a level where wait.
This topic is very intersectional.
Yeah,
you can bring a lot of things in
because
I want to bring
it's
something into it, but
because I'm like,
I don't know.
No, let's do it. But it's like, where does it come from that is like all of this is mostly targeted towards women, right? Because when you think about it in terms of the law, even laws about like abortion, etc., a lot of laws about women's body.
It's sorry to cut you off, but I think the answer I could give without you. I mean, I think I know what you're going to ask, but I think that the answer is that historically, for a very, very, very long time, there's always been this kind of other voice, you know, demanding what women should look like, what they should or shouldn't wear. There's always been that.
So who's that other voice?
I mean, it's usually the male voice. Yeah. It's been, let me not sugarcoat. It's been the white male voice. Yeah. It has been the white man's voice. Yeah. Let's be real. Okay. Yeah, so it's like it's so heavily embedded. You know?
And women were always typically like, women have always been sexualized, you know what I mean? Like, we're always, when it comes to the body, you know what I mean? You don't just see a woman, they always want to sexualize a woman, you know what I'm saying? And that also impacts how we see ourselves, you know what I'm saying? That's why there's a huge focus on the body image, not so much internally, right? And for me, body image isn't just about, or even body positivity isn't just about like weight gain or, you know, losing weight, right? Like body size or shape. It can also be, you know, if you get stretch marks, or if you get acne on the body, or if you have discoloration, hyperpigmentation, like all of that for me is also connects like your, you know, your body image and how you see yourself or how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. So going off of that, I think what it is that in some kind of way, women have been trained to, like, they need to be able to see themselves through the eyes of someone else versus, you know, being able to see themselves through their own eyes. Yeah.
So do you think now that's why we're having a lot of time, just a hard time accepting ourselves? Like, we always need confirmation of someone else. We're almost unable to just look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, oh no, like, you know, no, I look fine. Like, because and I think it's something we touched on like in a previous episode, but just in general, right? It's always like a mirror. We're always reflecting back on other like projections, right? So it's almost hard to see, like we were talking about how sometimes you're gonna see someone and you're annoyed by them for some reason, right? But oftentimes when you have such an emotional reaction towards someone, it means there's something about them that you want for yourself, and
or maybe not want either. It always bounces back to you. There's something inside you. It's triggering something.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can't remember where I was going with this, but it's the fact that so we're always having a hard time.
I was gonna add that. Well, I mean, we're human beings, right? And we're living in a world where it's not just, for example, it's not just me, you know? So at the same time, we can't help it, you know? Like, we're there's societal structure, there's communities, there's you thinking of yourself in a city, you know. It's like, I'm not just Ashley, I'm also Canadian Ashley, I'm also Vancouverite Ashley, I'm also university student Ashley, or like hiking Ashley, outdoorsy Ashley. Like there's all these like streamlines that different layers to people. So it's like, to be honest, as long as there's you and I in this world, it's always going to be a thing, you know. But it's about like not allowing that type of mindset to be like the driver, you know, in which how you should go about and see your life and build yourself.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So what is that thing you wanted to say?
Okay, I wanted to add, because now, I mean, we've gone
curious.
we've kind of gone from well, we didn't really touch too much on the actual like physicality of like body positivity,
which we
you know.
should.
So I would like to get into that as well, and then we went into like. Of course, like imagery and advertisement, and we dabbled slightly with the historically, you know, about the white man's voice. And I, to be honest, in all this, I was thinking about plastic surgery. You know, and to be honest with you, this is because to be honest,
it's a
for me, and when it comes to, you know, things that people do, it's their body. I do not care what you want to do with your body. If it makes you happy, cool. It has no effect on me. You know, of course there will be other people that look at you and judge you, whatever. You know, so. Yeah, you know, to be honest, what Victoire, she said something, it's like, you are looking yourself in the mirror, and maybe you really don't like how your nose looks. You know,
I didn't like my nose for a long time.
Me too.
Yeah, I love your nose. I keep telling you that.
It has like a French bump on it.
She has a French nose. I love it.
What is that even?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what does that look like?
I'm just always like, I don't know. I have a weird thing with noses. I don't know what it is.
You a nose person?
Yeah, it's weird.
Let's go off topic. Never talk about nose. So what kind of
nose and
do you
legs?
like?
It's the nose and legs for me. And the brain, of course. But
you're talking about plastic surgery.
Yeah. So it's like, both women and men will make, you know, adjustments, you know, but like I said, like I mentioned previously, is that it could be unhealthy in a way if you're kind of looking at a different image and being like, okay, well, I'm supposed to look like that, versus maybe, you don't like how your nose looks, so you're trying to figure out how you would like it to see. So maybe you do pull references and stuff, you know. But I feel like there's also a kind of fine line where, like, if you allow your mind to cross that line, you just end up making a whole bunch of adjustments, and like, even if like you quote unquote perfect one thing, you're gonna now find something else and find something else, you know. There are obviously some people who get into that and they do a whole bunch of stuff, right? And then there are others who's like, maybe all they've done was a nose job or a boobs job. Not to say that either or is like worse or best, you know, but when it comes to body positivity, I feel like, plastic surgery should be included in this topic, because to be honest, if you want bigger boobs, you know, maybe because there's some women out there who they want big boobs. Maybe they've during puberty they just didn't get it, you know, and that's what they want. Keyword, that's what that person wants. Not big-titted women are more accepted, and, you know, I'm gonna get hit on more guys, blah blah blah. Because then you are now like seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else. So that's all I'm trying to say, you know. If you want to get your nose done, want to do your teeth, you want to do your boobs, girl, go ahead and do it if it makes you confident in yourself.
That's the part, though. I think for me, that's what, like, I'm very similar to you, where, you know, I always say, my favorite line is, do what's best for you.
Period.
If it's safe, you know what I mean? That's where I come with it's safe, because you know, I have friends that have gone to plastic surgery who were completely happy and content. Like, it's a boost in self-confidence, self-esteem. And I have friends who have gotten it who are not content.
Not satisfied.
You know what I mean? Low self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. And I always ask, like, if you're going to get plastic surgery, then you got to know why you're doing it. Period. You know what I mean? Like, because you can get work done and still be unhappy. And that's why I kept going back to, it's how you feel about your body. Does it make sense? Because even if you get surgery done, or, you know, get a little bit of nip and tuck, you know, and you still have visually, you look like whoever you want to look like, or what you imagine yourself to look like, and you're still not happy, it's about how you feel about yourself. You know what I mean? And I think the issue with plastic surgery for me is that there's a huge like trend, especially with younger.
Yeah.
Doesn't say children and youth, but young girls, you know what I mean, teenagers, you know, I mean, as young as preteens, you know, 12, 13, you know,
because of the heavy imagery,
right? So it's like, and there's also long-term effects. Listen, whatever you do, whatever operation, surgery you do, you know, just do your research, you know. Make sure you have an understanding of the long-term effects as well, not just the short-term, you know what I mean, but also in the long run, you know, because a lot of celebrities, they have the money to maintain and upkeep, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Like, I know with you get your breast done, I think it's like after 10 or 15 years, you have to go back, you know what I mean? So think about that, right? Yeah. So it's like, same thing with the BBLs. Everybody, you know, the BBLs are very popular, you know, let's keep it real, you know? But what is it? Brazilian butt lift, right?
Yeah. But
it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
like you if you're gonna get a BBL, and no judgment, right? But if you're going to get it, I want you to first sit down and ask yourself, am I willing to die for this BBL? Because some people don't survive the fucking BBL. That's what I'm saying. So if you want it that bad, you have to understand that you are risking your life just to get a super sized ass, in which is not gonna fit in
That's not even okay. Now that brings up another subject, because I talked to you about this trans woman last time, that they are a trans woman, right? And they didn't like their legs because their legs look too masculine, right? So they couldn't wear like dresses or skirts because they didn't feel comfortable, and so they went to this recommendation, like that doctor, and she was from Brazil, something like this, and with all confidence, because everyone was talking great about her, right? And got injected. They found out 5 years later, when it started hurting, that they got injected
was it car fluid, engine oil, something like that,
airplane oil.
Putain de merde.
whatever that means. Put down the nail.
I forgot I was even on the podcast. You know, I'm like, I'm processing. I'm like, whoa, yeah, continue.
Yeah. So now, the legs after 4 or 5 years starting to really hurt, and they realized, the doctors took a sample to see what was injected, and it was actually airplane oil, and that woman since had died, but she did this operation on several people who, after a couple of years, right, because it doesn't happen immediately. For some people it does. I guess in this situation it didn't, because if you had seen this applying to you and then recommended your friends, that's fucked up, you know. So I assume they didn't know. They just all probably realized after 3, 4, 5 years that this is what they got in, and so that poses the question.
Change. Maybe that person doing the surgeries, they couldn't afford the proper. And
in that talk, all these people were talking about the fact that they all trusted their doctors, right? Because they were saying, oh, they come with like the white jacket and they're very well spoken, and you are taught to trust this authority or this person because they are taught to help you in some ways, right?
You could be rest assured.
And so sometimes you don't do the job of just double checking their credentials because you think that naturally they wouldn't want to hurt you.
And always check the credentials. There's so many scammers nowadays. So many like practices that are not even legal.
You make so much money out of it, right? So now this person, they cannot remove the oil from their legs. It's gonna stay there, and it's gonna calcify around the bones and become dark. And so every month, it used to be that every week they had to go to the hospital, do some kind of like movement or whatever, so that it wouldn't kind of calcify around the bone, just to keep it active. So now they have to do it every month. But the thing is, every month or every 2 weeks or every week, you're gonna have to go do something to fix this situation that now you cannot remove, just because unfortunately, not that they were not careful, but they did not just do their due diligence.
I was just about to say that word. Yeah, your due diligence.
Because I think from what you said, they wanted to cut the legs off or something. One of the doctors who was used to fixing these bad situations, he was like,
I've never seen this, and honestly I would recommend you cut your legs off. So imagine you go to do these simple things because you want your legs to look beautiful, right? And that's the only surgery maybe you want to do. You're fine after that, but then you wake up, it went wrong, and now you find yourself having to have your legs cut off because that person, they mentioned, yeah, when I went to see that doctor who I hoped would kind of save me in some ways, I was not the worst in that office. Like all the other people who were there were in wheelchairs or in another situation, but they were not walking on their two legs. And so at that moment, even though I realized my situation was very fucked up, I was like, wow, there's worse. It could have been worse. Right?
So yeah, you said something. Well, it relates to the maintenance, right? So it literally made me think of a car. You know, when people go to buy a car, they're just thinking about buying the car. They're not thinking about, okay, can you actually afford the car? Like not just buying it, you have to take it in for maintenance every couple whatever kilometers. Do this, do that, do that, do that. So you also have to understand. Oh yeah, you were talking about the boobs. Eventually, you have to go back after 10, 15 years, whatever. Same thing for BBL, right? Yeah, if you have the means, you're able to keep up. Do the upkeep, right? But I don't know the percentage or the statistics, you know, but I intuitively feel like there's a lot of people who it's like, oh, like they work really hard, save up enough money just to get this one surgery done, but then they're not thinking like, you know, like, oh, like what's going on, you know what I mean? It's like the silicone or whatever, it's like moving, you know, it's like, and now it's like, oh, I have to pay for another surgery to do this and do that, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if whoever is listening, you do whatever is best for you. There are always effects, you know, there's always cause and effect. So just consider those things, you know, and just be safe. It's neither right or wrong. It depends on the reason you're doing it. Yeah,
it's all about
to be honest. Reasons, so if you're going to do something, make sure that it's for you and you understand the risks and that you're willing to accept those risks. That's it. Yeah.
I just want to add, like Ashley said, do what's best for you. However, remember, whatever you choose, you have to live with it.
Period.
You don't know what may come with it. So that
what
part.
you reap, you sow.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
I mean, I'm not judging, but I'm judging a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, be careful. No, we have to keep it real. You know what I mean? Yeah. Real, because this is a real issue. You know what I mean? It's a real thing.
It is. Yeah, I can become a little judgy when I do see someone and I know for sure they've had like a lot of surgeries. You know what I mean? Because then I'm not really judging like like you're a bad person.
It's not a concern.
No, it's just like why don't you love yourself?
Yeah.
Like, you know, to go to that extent at some point it means you're just hiding things. You're not actually taking care of yourself and why you feel this way that you have to have these many surgeries or like Botox or whatever, right? Because if you do one or two because it really helps you boost and feel confident, then I'm like, oh yeah, perfectly fine. But when it becomes so visible that other people start really noticing that, you know, they've had like a lot of like surgeries, then I only feel like then it's something that's deeper that you need to address within you.
100%.
And not outside.
So I like that you mentioned that because when you said, oh yeah, you get a little judgmental, you know, and then you start asking yourself these questions, it reminded me of the projections, you know, in which you know for yourself that's something that you wouldn't do because maybe I don't want to say oh you value yourself more and this person doesn't. It's not that. It's just that you know that for you these are your values, your morals, and you wouldn't do that. So that's where that comes from. So I just wanted to point that out because it's so interesting that when we do find ourselves like judging, like for me it's just like why do it? It's like I'm not going to do that to myself because I like natural. You know, that's just what I like. You know, so I'm going to make those projections. And then the second thing was, and which is going to go back to what we're kind of like talking about before we jump back in, is hiding things. You know, it's easy to get into the habit of hiding things instead of actually being face to face with it. So I was just saying that for everyone's body, you know, age and gender and whatever, all those biometrics, there is a certain like subsistence level when it comes to weight, you know, that your body actually functions efficiently at. So when people say like overweight, underweight, really it just means that you are over that level or you are either under that level. So it's not the most efficient level for you, your body type, which, you know, involves your age and all that thing, all those
your
things,
health history,
you know?
and all those factors.
Yeah, because we also just mentioned like, oh, like body fat is not bad. It's actually it's healthy to have some fat on your body.
It protects you.
Yeah, unless, to be honest, if you're competing, you know what I mean, they're doing it for competitive purposes, you know. But there are people who like they don't want an inch of body fat on them, and it's more of like there's a deeper kind of issue,
like
you know. That's how people kind of develop anorexia and all those things, eating disorders and all those stuff, you know. So yeah, there is a level in which your body functions more efficiently at. So if you are extremely over that or under that, you're like, this is not just a body, right? There's a heart inside, there's lungs, there's a whole
bunch of organs.
and like system. There are systems in there and
That work together.
That work together. So if you are, example, like, I'm over that level, so maybe instead of I'm a cool 134, you know, and then I don't know, I go up to like an extra 100 pounds or extra 200 pounds. I don't know. The organs in my body are going to be working extra hard just to keep my ass alive, you know. And I'm not actually like I'm doing my body a disservice, you know. It's like I'm killing it while it's trying to help me survive.
You're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, you're literally doing yourself a disservice. That's really all it means. Like you have to think about those things. It's like this, like me looking at Michelle, like it's not just a body, it's an entire system, you know. When that system starts failing, what happens? There's are the effects, right? You get the little the cancers, or I don't want to use cancer as an example, but like
that's a real example.
Eventually, like people
High
die.
blood
You
pressure.
should
You know,
down, like you know, power off. You know what I mean? The robot dies.
Your
you know what I mean?
systems start shutting down, right? Because whether it's due to age, you know, because we know age plays a role. You know that you're 7 years if you're lucky, you know, or 80. But if I'm a centurion, you know, it's like. I mean, there are centurions like that live in the blue zone and they're relatively healthy and still strong, right? But they're taking care of their body, you know, eating foods that they grow in their backyard, still doing movements. You know, when I see older body, senior citizens in the gym, I'm like, wonderful, amazing, you know. And when I see old people, like old ass people running, you know, and maybe they can't run like you are because we're still young and very vibrant and have a lot of energy, but they're out there running. I'm just like, there is no excuse. You better get your ass outside, put on a fucking jacket and start running, you know, because it's like you are helping yourself. You're doing a service to yourself. You know, you're doing a service to your body. You're helping your body help you.
Okay, but this is where the problem is now with body positivity that I have a hard time with. Is that people are out there thinking that basically, yes, okay, it's hard. It is a tough subject, right? Because you should accept yourself and be comfortable within your body, whether you are, I want to say, like overweight, underweight, in the middle, like whatever. You need to make sure you are comfortable with yourself because you want to still be able to go outside and enjoy your life and be okay within your body, right? And be able to interact with people, because there's the problem of like, obviously if you don't feel comfortable within your body, it's gonna create issues to you going out and meeting others, and you know, but
because now, you are not your body.
Yes, exactly. But now people have to understand one thing, is that there's, like you said, when you are over a certain weight, physically it is not good or healthy for you, physically and mentally. Right? So I'm not saying, oh, don't accept yourself. Accept yourself. You have to do that. Still love yourself, but just understand that for health reasons, it's actually not that healthy depending on the level of weight you have on.
And also just that includes, you know, how you came about to getting to that weight, you know, which is obviously eating habits, you know, like obviously if you're eating healthy foods.
But wait, you can, the thing is, we can also eat healthy foods, but people need to understand one thing, is that the thing that regulates your body weight, it's your hormones. So,
And what affects your hormones?
well, the thing is, like, we eat
lots of things, but food is
Stress too. Stress is a huge part of it, right?
Stress is a huge problem.
Yes,
if you may, we were talking about it. You may eat all the healthy foods you want. If your body is stressed, you're gonna struggle in some ways. You're gonna put on weight, or you're gonna get sick, whatever. There are a lot of
Or
people.
you're gonna lose weight, right?
Yes, there are a lot of fruitarians out there who, whenever they experience stress or some type of anxiety, even though they're on a very good diet, they'll develop like a cancer. They'll you know what I mean?
So it's not necessarily the, like, I mean, yeah, there's physical stresses, but obviously I think majority of that stress is it's a mental thing. It's your mind.
It's your mind, but you also, and that's why you also need to be cautious about knowing what you're eating. Nowadays we all know that when we eat something, like, it's pumped with hormones. So we have to take that into consideration, that unfortunately, right, when I go and I buy certain things, they put hormones in those things. And those hormones are going to become a part of me because I eat this food. And although I have no choice, like I can't, okay, like you're eating meat, right? Okay, so you need to be aware that there are hormones in there, and you need to do your due diligence in certain areas of your life, like working out, staying active, and making sure you eat like vegetables and fruits enough to balance enough to balance it out, right? And I think people don't think enough about that. A lot of people are, I just want to eat good, I want to eat, like, we go out, we eat, we socialize with it, because that's how we create contact. But then we forget the part where the foods we're eating are not like 100 years ago. The food we're eating are most of the time, we have like chemicals in there. We have the pesticides in labs. They add things to it. They remove
made out of
things,
plastic,
right? So all of that, you need to know that it is affecting you, right? And it is affecting your weight, and it is affecting your mental clarity, your mood swings,
100%,
all of that, right? And I think people just operate on the fact that, I'm just eating. I'm used to.
It's just food. It's just fries.
I was born, and my parents gave me food, morning, lunch, dinner. I never even ever thought about, am I actually hungry? I'm like, it's lunch. I need to eat. It's dinner. I need to eat. And in the middle, if I feel my stomach growling, I'm not thinking, maybe I'm thirsty. No, I'm like, it's probably food, so I'm gonna, we don't think when we're eating if we're actually hungry.
That's very true. Yeah.
Right? And that's why a lot of us, on top of the stress and the food that's like played with, manipulated, whatever, that's how we end up in a society where now, especially in the US, about more than half of the population is actually overweight. And then on top of that, you ask everyone to be okay with body positivity, and telling people that basically, if you're overweight, it's okay, you're
or
healthy,
underweight, or underweight.
you're okay, you're fine, it's great, accept your body. And we're here saying, it's not that you don't have to accept your body, right? And if it's your decision to eat a certain way, and if you're truly comfortable with having a harder time running or breathing
thinking,
or
diabetes,
if you're okay with that, then cool. I have no problem whatsoever. But oftentimes people tell themselves that they're okay until they get something that comes with the weight they are at, that they were warned off, right? And then unfortunately when they get there, now they're not okay. Because for anyone it's hard to accept that, right? It's one thing, I can tell you the surgery you're gonna have, like we were talking earlier, might 50% chance you will get that, but it's hard for you to imagine, right? For a lot of people, I can visualize myself being like, oh, can I risk my legs kind of, is it worth taking a risk? Absolutely not. I'd rather deal with it, right? But for some people, they don't consider that. They really think that it's almost impossible that it happens. And then when it happens, they regret, right?
That's what I mentioned. You have to be able to like sit down and genuinely like think.
You have to really, really think about what you're doing, about, okay, I'm overweight right now. Do I love myself? Yes. Am I okay with maybe getting a few pounds more and having maybe, I know I'm going to get 50% chance of having a higher chance of getting a heart attack. Would I be okay with that? Yes. Okay. Yes, I would be okay with that. Am I okay with running short out of breath when I try to catch my breath? Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. Am I okay with eating like food that I know makes me unhealthy most of the time? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Genuinely, yeah, okay, cool.
But most people lie to themselves anyways.
But that's the truth.
And that's where it becomes problematic, where it's just like
we lie to ourselves.
The same things you don't like, and not just in a physical sense, like whether, someone who, you'll see someone like they could confide in you, they complain about like, oh, their weight, they want to get snatched or something like that, but then they continue to like, order the same McDonald's and blah blah blah, and it's because it's like to be honest, for some people it's challenging to not just confront but actually be proactive and execute the changes that need to be made. It's difficult, whether you're changing your diets, whether you're trying to drink more water, whether you're trying to go outside for a walk, like it's mental challenges,
I think a lot of the time people want to start off too strong too, like, you want
like cold turkey.
Never do cold turkey.
And that's bad because you try your best for a certain amount of time and then after that you fall back, like
you get disappointed in yourself, you tell yourself, oh, I can't do it, but that's only because you went cold turkey, like pace yourself, give yourself some cushion space, there are going to be faults.
I want to add into, because going back to what you mentioned prior, Ashley, you're talking about how the body, like, each person's body has like a certain amount of substance or something that a
level in which it operates more effectively
and I want to go back to that because I want to highlight that it's according to your body, right? Because this is where things get a bit crazy, right? You may have somebody in your life or a friend or whatever that has a similar body type to you. You know what I'm saying? As yours, but the way in which their body increases in fat or decreases won't be the same. Or
where that fat goes,
right? Or especially where that fat goes. You know what I mean? So people start comparing because that's what happens a lot of the time. People don't assess their own where they're at, you know what I mean? Like I've had people look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, like you're so, like oh my gosh, like you're so, you don't ever gain weight." You know what I mean? I said, "No, I gain weight, but my weight I don't increase." You know what I'm saying? In size, I gain weight. For example, my stomach, my thighs, or my face, and my arms. That's where my fat goes when I gain weight. That's how I know I have gained weight or I'm gaining weight. You know what I mean?
You know where it
so people
goes.
compare, like, oh, you haven't gained weight. You know what I mean? And also weight loss, right? Because I think that's another one too. Not just weight gain, but also losing weight. You know what I mean? That's also, for a lot of people, that's also an indication of like, stress. You know what I mean? Because for me, when I lose weight, I know I'm stressed because I'm not eating properly or I'm not even eating at all. You know what I mean? And I say that because there's a huge focus on like weight gain, but also weight loss is a lot of things people struggle with in terms of like body image and body positivity. And I just want to say it's about your individual body, because a 145 for me may look different from a 145 from somebody else. People forget that because they compare, you know what I mean? And say this is what a 145
looks like. So I need to get to 145, and then they're disappointed that how come I don't look like her?
I have had a friend who at some point she lost a lot of weight, and she's tall, and she had a little bit of weight on, right? But then she lost almost too much right? And to the point where I'm like, no, this is too much now. And she was not anorexic or whatever, right? She could have been like me, but then for her, it just didn't look like she was healthy at that body weight. She needed to put back on more to look like you can just tell when you look at someone where's that kind of middle ground where you're now that weight on you looks perfect for your height for your but it's not the same for everyone.
It's not consistent.
Weight gain and weight loss looks your appearance changes actually. So I know at one 100%. Point for me when I was like running a lot, doing a lot of cardio, Michelle was just like, oh, like don't lose any more. Even my mom was kind of just like don't lose any more weight because, and I'm just like, I'm fine or whatever, but switching things up and gaining a little more mass. Like I'm just like, okay, because I keep saying like, oh no, I have seen myself in this type of way, and I wasn't satisfied with that. I've also gotten like super muscular, and it's like, oh, I don't really like that either. So I'm gonna try and find my middle ground, and then be able to be like, oh, like yes, like I really like how that looks. You know what I mean? I think it definitely gets a little confusing when someone on the outside could be like, oh no, don't gain any more, don't lose any more.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot of the time.
Because then it's like it's the outside person's perspective. They have their own image of that person.
And that's why we really need to teach our kids or our friends, right, to just that other people coming with their ideas, you need to make sure at least maybe they're coming from a place of knowledge or some kind of
love,
way.
just genuine love.
Because a lot of people will come and they'll tell you, oh no, that's not good for you, and you'll listen to them, but meanwhile they base themselves off of like other people's images
criteria.
Of them,
or even their own body, which is not the same as the other individuals.
Exactly.
Like the one thing I mentioned, like overall, whether it's diet, exercise, movement, whatever, I'm just like, the whole point in all those processes is to be able to learn your body. That's it. If you learn your body, you'll just know how to do certain, whether it's like, okay, I wanna be able to lose like this amount of weight or gain this much, you just know your body so well through your exercise history or whatever you've been doing, where it's just like you just know what to do. You could look in the mirror and you could kind of tell like, oh yes, like the areas in which you gain weight. For me it's going to be my breast, you know what I mean, stomach, my face. So it's just like you're able to notice those things and be like, oh well, to be honest, I did eat quite a lot more carbs, but it's in a healthy way.
That's the part,
you know, it's supposed to be in a healthy way,
healthy and safe way. You know what I mean?
Safe
way of the store, but in a safe way.
The healthiest way is the safest way. Imagine they create a grocery store called the safest way.
Okay, but wait, I just want to point out, that yes, like we said earlier, fat is not necessarily bad. It becomes bad when you have an excess of it, and what your body does is everything your body does is really to freaking keep you alive, man. Because when you have an excess fat, it won't put it around your major organs,
your vital organs,
because otherwise it'll end up killing you way faster. Like you could drop dead. What it does is going to store it around your stomach, where your intestines, whatever your colon is, because it's the least detrimental to you, and so it'll just accumulate there, right?
Your stomach, your thighs, in your face.
Yes, a little bit of everywhere, but just to avoid affecting the major organs that are actually detoxing you, like processing your food, whatever. It will do that for you. So like I've mentioned that several times before. I think we should really, oftentimes people say, oh, like, why is my body doing this? And I keep saying, no, it's you. You're doing this to your body, because when you start learning about how the body works, and in simple terms, you don't even need to be like to the level of a doctor, because even doctors sometimes actually you have to question what they're being taught,
they
and
misdiagnose people.
Exactly. 50% of the death at hospitals come from their mistakes. Okay, so they're human beings. They make mistakes. But the whole point is like, once you start to really understand actually even a little bit of how the body works, you'll realize your body body really actually loves you, and each
It's trying to
time
help you.
is just trying to keep you alive and do its job of keeping you alive and trying to fix whatever it can until, unfortunately, it gives out
Yeah.
because you haven't left any
haven't helped
room.
it.
You haven't helped it, and you haven't helped
Period.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's sad for me to see a lot of people going to, like, even now, but because probably of that body positivity stuff. Well, not even, like, you know, a lot of people are using Ozempic to lose weight now, and it's just like,
Lazy motherfuckers. Sorry, I said it.
And you know,
I don't give a damn. Oh, come on.
And
You
Ozempic is
get
also
in the
using-
fucking gym. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm sorry if this
Oh, no,
offends
no, wait,
anybody,
wait,
but
wait.
I'm being honest.
We're awake now, people. Okay?
wait, because then some people will put on the weight. Like, let's say for me, I got lucky because hypothyroidism, I could have put on weight. I could have gone to the gym and exercised and not lost the weight. I could have changed my diet to a certain point and not lost the weight because of the hormones. So now even there, it becomes tricky, because if you do all the good things and you notice you're still not losing weight, even at the gym, it
Yeah.
means there's something else going on, and most
Yeah.
of the time it's going to be your hormones. And in that case, then you want to make sure you go to a doctor or find a solution for yourself, like I did, where you just go
You begin
and
to
check.
start researching and understanding the
And-
body.
Exactly.
Because these things could trigger someone to try the laxatives, diet pills, and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Ozempic. Sorry for my judgmental comment. I was still being honest though. I still meant what the fuck I said.
No, I'm judgmental when it comes to Ozempic. I'm sorry. That I just like that is just everyone wants the quick fucking fix.
Yeah, it's all about quick fixes.
Well,
Just
that's
go
what I
walk
was
on the
saying,
treadmill
though,
for 30
maintenance,
minutes a day.
right? That's people don't. The upkeep is where people get lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's people.
Once
forget-
you stop the
Yeah.
Ozempic,
But
you double the weight.
Yeah, and it
You
depends.
double
On,
the
Lord
it
have
also depends
mercy.
on your body. And I was also going to say that
we should take a moment to pray for all the people who took Ozempic and went.
Yeah.
Honestly,
No, the side effects, right? And it's used in diabetes. It's a diabetes medication, Ozempic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And people take it medically. But anyways, let's not get into pharmaceutical stuff because you can go all the way there. But I wanted to also
Yeah,
talk about the
complex.
fact that you mentioned something about hormones. Because I hear you keep mentioning hormones. I think that's equally important, but also genetics. That's a huge part of it as well.
That
You know
is
what I
true.
mean? Not just hormones.
That is true.
But they they
Genetics
interact.
play a role.
But genes too play a huge role. You know what I mean?
okay.
And a lot of people don't pay attention to their, genetic, material.
history.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay. Okay.
And especially here
It may not be that
in Western,
that major, but it's
in
important.
Canada, whatever, because this is where we are. People don't do genetic testing, you know what I mean, as opposed to other
They don't
parts of the
understand
world.
the
I've
family
noticed that,
history.
you know what I mean? Like if you ask people, for example, like when people are getting, let's say partnerships, right? You ask them, what's your blood type? You know what I mean? They don't know that, you know what I mean? Versus in other places, like they check that all the time and it's actually free to know before, have children with somebody else, you know what I mean? To avoid certain, like, whatever, diagnoses or whatever. You know, like genetic disorders, that's what they called it, like clinically. But I think that has a lot to do with like also, the topic of body image and body positivity and body health and etc.
So I do think So I do think genetics are important in the sense that it helps you see what you will be or you can be more sensitive to. But where people get caught up is the fact that let's say you have a story of diabetes in your family, right? People will tell themselves, I will probably get diabetic because but the thing they forget is that you
do
eat the
nothing to
same
prevent it.
Yeah.
you eat the same way all your relatives that got diabetes ate. So obviously if it's in your DNA, if it's in your genes and you're eating the same way they were eating, then obviously you're making yourself gonna have the diabetes.
Okay, with that being said, something came to
1 +
mind.
1 = 2, doesn't it?
We're forgetting something here. A lot of these issues are environmental, right? And I'm about to come for you, Michelle. I have a question, Michelle. Okay, that's a good point, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, let's say, for example, you live in an area where your socioeconomic resources are limited. No, because that's the reality.
No, Victoire, the hands
Right?
are coming in strong now.
No, because generationally, right? Generationally, people, we know like people don't have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
In certain parts of the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even here in Vancouver, British Columbia, you know what I'm saying? People are struggling to just meet
Yes.
whatever it is. So let's say, for example, now, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
from that perspective where, you know what, maybe you want to make a change and you recognize, you know what, my grandfather had diabetes, et cetera, it's generational, but I want to prevent it, right? But economically, I don't have the resources. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now what how would you navigate that then?
So that is tough, right? Because I would say, okay, so let's start with this, right? A lot of people will say they can't do it, they can't afford the better food, not knowing that actually the fruits, the vegetables, first of all, you're gonna be less hungry, so you're gonna eat less, so you're gonna spend less. It's less expensive than buying meat oftentimes nowadays, okay? And there's the fact that oftentimes these people will get a $1,000 phone,
New iPhone 17, 23.
You have the iPhone, you have the watch that
the
goes
clothes,
with it, the Apple
the
Watch,
glasses,
the glasses you buy.
Versace.
So in this type of environment, in this condition, I would say then it's you putting your priorities in the wrong way.
Let's remove the priorities.
Okay.
I got my hand raised.
Let's remove the priorities because there's people who live like that, who don't have access to even phones.
That's true.
And they have food vouchers where
that's
they go to
true.
food
That's
bank
true.
and all they get is what they get.
I'm gonna get to that.
People.
I'm gonna get to that.
That's true. Okay. I think
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, I'll let you get to that. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now this brings a whole freaking other conversation because yes, there are food deserts, unfortunately, and that poses the question: where are those foods desert most of the time? When you take the USA, it's usually the black communities. Why would it always happen around the black communities?
Impoverished areas.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Do you
black
think?
Communities.
And that is a bigger problem because these people, although they're trying to get better, and I acknowledge that in this condition, I recognize it's not their fault. Now, whose fault is it? Probably the government. Do you think it would benefit the government to have all these black people eating healthy food, etc.? No, they're probably trying to keep you there for a reason. So in this sense, if you could afford to move it, the best, if you could afford to grow your food, build a community where you could do that, it would be great. But I recognize that in this situation, it's extremely hard and it's not up to the person necessarily. So I'm not here saying that, everyone should be, everyone
able to do X, Y, Z.
I recognize that there are some people who, unfortunately, because it's the world, there's going to be people who, unfortunately, no matter what you do, you have limitations, you can't get there for some reason, right?
Yeah.
But these people, maybe they're not spending on the $1,000 phone, they're not, but they also live in a food desert, and you can't, and that, but that poses the deeper question of like economically, okay, why are they kept in this environment?
Which would be an interesting subject for so what I wanted to say is, simply put, of course, there's always going to exist some kind of like stumbling block or limitation, whether it's in an economical sense or whatever type of sense, right? But that still doesn't take away one's ability to make choices, because it reminded me, and not to say that, to be honest, you could still be in a situation and you make the choice like, I honestly can't, I have 5 kids to try my best to take care of and whatever, and that's your situation. It doesn't mean that, you have to make a different type of choice. You just know that this is my circumstance and this is the choice that I'm making. That's all I'm saying, is that there's still a choice. The challenges are there. You can make whatever choice you want. We have free will. You know what I mean? And it reminded me of some things in the far past where people would literally risk their lives to make change. The people would get on boats, little boats. They don't even know if they're going to survive the travel in order just to get to America or to get somewhere. Still today. So that doesn't take away the fact that, yes, there are going to be hard challenges and hard choices. No, doesn't mean that you can't make them. Sometimes that means abandoning your family, abandoning your child. Like, tough, like, it's still a choice. You just have to,
No. That's real. No, what I'm not saying that, there shouldn't be personal accountability. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. There's different levels to accountability. There's a society systematically, but it's also like your personal accountability, right? And awareness. Because there's people who are low income who are aware of, like, what I'm eating is not good and I could be eating this. And they try.
And they could be fighting.
Whether they get gift cards or vouchers, they do look for what they can given their budget. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever welfare paycheck they get monthly, right? There's people like that. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I brought this up is because I think when it comes to like body image and body positivity, I think it's very important for us to focus on like people who fall below the poverty line, because that's where a lot of people end up in. Because people who have resources, when it comes to body image, body positivity, they can fix it easily because they have more resources, more access to resources. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people that we're talking to may not fall in that category. You know what I'm saying? So we have to think of the average person who is living in Vancouver, for example. You know what I'm saying? Let's be realistic. You know what I mean? Where rent is expensive. Even fruits. You know, sometimes you want to go buy fruit and you're like, damn, like I have to choose between fruits or $2
organic,
because I can't afford even like an apple.
But here's what I'll say. The thing is, I think there needs to be a mind change, and it is hard, right? Because I remember talking to you about a guy who, a guy from the US. He's a white, and he goes around. And one time, one of his video went in the poorest city in the US, and it was maybe a county, I can't remember, but it was a neighborhood where it's mostly like black folks, right? And he was amazed at the fact that even in the grocery stores, which like there were barely any really, the section for the fruits and vegetables was super tiny. He was like, it's crazy, I've never seen this. So even if you wanted to eat healthy, you literally, they made it so you have no options. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
So even in these circumstances, the people who do want to try to make that happen, why would a store make this section small in this area and prioritize the sweet things, the things that are actually cheaper?
I think, to be honest, this is a very interesting topic, you know, like, I mean, what I wanted to add is that, typically, the community, the people who, you know, are having hardships with body positivity has a lot to do with food, money, resources, and all that stuff. When you go to impoverished areas, you know, extremely poor areas, you're gonna see the people who have like the health issues, obesity, you know, all that stuff. And of course, in a economical way, you know, systematically, politically, that it's very intersectional.
Every time when you see people who have money, they're doing good.
Even, to be honest, even for like us who like people who live in Vancouver, you know, most of them, they complain about the rent and the cost of living and all that stuff. But that doesn't take away from the fact that in a way you're still kind of privileged, because you can make a choice to go live somewhere cheaper, take your ass up to Calgary or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Go to a cheaper place just to be able to afford, you know. But the people in other circumstances, right, who are like, extremely low income.
I had a point, because for me, I think we should also, you know, maybe share some resources, because I feel like, you know, it's not, what I'm saying is, it's not that you can't get out of these situations if you're in it. You know what I mean? I think that people sometimes are in it and they don't know how. So what are some micro suggestions that we have for people who are in these type of situations where, you know what I mean? It's like, I recognize that I'm limited on money or resources, but I know that I want to just try, even if it's like a micro change, like what are some tips? Because people want to get out of that.
You could start
they just don't know
eat
how.
Healthy, or, you know, kind of make that change. You know what I mean? How can they start? You know what I mean?
I think it's looking at how you I think it's starting to look at what you have that you don't need or that you don't use, or how first of all how you use your money,
or I think even just a level before that is number one, you know, taking a step back, you know, and looking in your life and seeing also just like what is your life right now, you know, like assess your life, like take out
risk assessment,
a notebook with a pen and actually like write your life, like what is your life right now, and then start thinking, okay, well, because someone's going to be able to like further understand like you know why they go to this certain grocery store. Oh, it's closer. Or it's like, it's when I leave work, it's right there, blah, blah, blah. You know, conveniency, all those things, you know? So it's like people need to write out their lives in order to deeply understand everything else, you know? Like the routine, why, like how much their budget, you know, and why they're living in a certain place. And
if you don't do that, I think a budget always helps.
It's like you have to like take off it's like skeleton, get right down to the skeleton.
You have to really observe and see an assessment and assess how are you spending for how how good are you at taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Do you move a lot, or do you stay seated a lot? Do you drink enough water or not? What type of food do you eat? And when you look at the food, do you know what's in it, you know? But yeah, started looking at where you're spending your money. If every day you're taking out, well, first of all, you want to stop taking out, right? If once a week or 3 times a week you're going outside with friends to eat, well, maybe you want to save that money and not go out because you're going to drink alcohol. It's not necessarily great for you. You're going to, you know, but the whole thing is, it's just, I think, first, looking at where you're spending your money and looking at the things you have that you don't need. Looking at the things you buy that you actually don't need. Looking at all the money the food you buy, maybe for even your house, and look at how much of it goes to waste. Yeah. Because I know before we started, a lot more of our food was going to waste. Yeah. Whereas now, since we started, almost it's gonna be almost a year in May, and we've had little waste.
The only waste there is pretty much the organics. You know what I mean? Which is not necessarily waste.
So, but that is going to come with people needing to understand that. It means you're going to have to give some work. It means you're gonna have to shop at different locations for certain things, right? Because I know where I go buy nuts that are less expensive, right? If I go to Whole Foods, I know that bag of like I don't know, 500 grams is gonna be like $20, but the same one at like a Persian store is gonna be like half the price, but more in quantity. You know what I mean? So it took me to remind myself that, okay, I have time, I can progress slower. Let me see where I can get my cheaper nuts. Let me see where I can get my cheaper oils. Let me see where I can, but still healthy. Let me see where I can afford to buy some organics, right? And some non-organics. And let me analyze in terms of myself in my life, okay, when am I really hungry? And also understanding that, if you go to McDonald's 2 hours after, you're gonna be hungry. It's not nourishing to you, okay? People who are overweight or malnourished.
Or underweight,
or underweight, malnourished.
That's really just what it
right?
is.
Yeah. So you have to understand, the more you're going to eat fruits and vegetables, the more you will be fuller, longer. So initially, when you transition, you're going to feel like you want to eat, but you need to understand that the more you transition towards it, the less money you're going to spend, because the less hungry you will be, and the healthier you will be as well. But health is wealth. I highly believe that if you can find a way to put your eggs in health, you will be rewarded with wealth. In wealth, I don't mean about money. I mean in general, you'll be healthier mentally, so you'll be able to have ideas clearer, think differently, 100%. Find solutions, find a way to make money, find a way to make other incomes, right? Yeah. Be more focused when you're reading or learning. Be better in your
finding the right person.
And all of that will gain you some type of wealth that you'll be able to get rewarded. And on top of that, this means then your future hospital bills, you won't have to worry about that, because you are taking care of it on a daily basis. And frozen foods are as healthy as fresh foods, and usually they're a little less expensive, depending on where you get
frozen food.
Vegetables and stuff like this, right? So I know a lot of nutritionists who will say, if you don't have the capacity to buy fresh vegetables, buy frozen fruits.
It's just as good,
because when they take it, they have to freeze it immediately, and it keeps more of the nutrients inside.
That's a fact.
When it travels.
I wanted to add some thing. It contradicts something that you said. And as far as the expenses, because we get at least 99.9 of our things organic, Yes. And we know that before,
maybe 95.
before
maybe 90.
So before, when, you know, with like the healthy eating, you know, like the whole veganism and all that stuff, it's like, oh, healthy eating is popular. And you see now all those healthy foods, all the organic food, the price is up, you know? So I know, like, there are moments where you come back to me and you're just like, oh, like, we're spending a little bit more. And I reply with, well, we are investing in our health. It's you know what I mean? And in that kind of way, you have to understand that, if just economically the way that things are panning out, you know, they are making healthier foods a little more expensive.
Yes,
you know,
they are more expensive.
But
for real.
Let's not fool ourselves too, because yes, I do buy organic, but not everything, because I know that, for example, for berries, I will always add.
What I mean to say is that someone might be like, oh, it's so expensive, it's so expensive, and it's just like, if you're, because you're buying more organic foods, maybe not everything, but like you're increasing, you know, purchasing more organic foods, it's going to be a little more expensive, right? So then it's just about being able to look and be like, okay, like what kind of, like, maybe because people have an entertainment budget, you know, what can I change there? Because some people, and a friend was explaining to me like her entertainment budget, and she was trying to, like, she was asking for advice on how to save money, and so she gave me her entertainment budget, and I'm just like, this is just for the 2 weeks. This is too much money just for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, what are you? That is, it's just my personal opinion. I was just like, oh, this is like, you could actually lessen the entertainment budget a little bit, you know, in order to put this there. So that's what I'm just trying to mention. Is that, like, if your entertainment budget bi-weekly is $600, you know, and then also you're increasing it, it's kind of just like, what are you doing in 2 weeks that you are spending $600? That is too much.
Prioritize, right?
Yeah, so it's like changing your priorities, you know, compromise, sacrifice. That's just what I wanted to point out.
That's a good point.
For us, it's kind of like, we're not like, it's not like we're going out clubbing and drinking, all this stuff. Not saying that people can do that, right? But sometimes when you mention like, oh, like, yeah, we're spending a little bit much, I'm just like, yeah, but we're spending on our health. You know, we're eating good foods. I value that.
And
I love that.
Like, you're investing in your nutrition.
That means more to me than going bowling every day or going to the movies every day, and you know what I mean. Plus, we love nature walks. That's free.
There's certain things you can do for free. That's
Exactly.
That's another point. Before I forget what I was going to add to what you were saying. Okay, organic that's true. A lot of foods organic stuff are more expensive, but also too, pay attention to labels, because not all organic is organic.
They just slap that label on there.
Out here, you know what I mean? No, it's true. You know,
you have to know. You have to be able to tell if it's organic or not. And Michelle has gotten really good at actually determining, like, oh, like, look at, she's analyzing the skin, the texture, all that stuff.
But it's true. I wanted to, because I think what happens is people hear labels and they say, okay, organic, I'm gonna buy it automatically. It's healthier. That's one point.
Or vegan. Oh, it's vegan. It's healthy.
That's one point. And then another one that I had, I just wanted to touch on the organic stuff quickly. The other one was about, you gave the example of McDonald's, Michelle, prior. You said, you know, when you go through a drive-thru, whatever it is, you know, it's more expensive. It is. It's not healthy. We all know that, right? But I think it goes back to giving people tips. It's about, think of the money that you spend, you know, for fast food or takeout. You know what I mean? Let's just say fast food, McDonald's, whatever, A&W, whatever else is there. You know what I mean? And with that, I think a lot of people, many people don't know how to cook. You know what I mean?
Period.
Like, 100%. I want to go back to the very basics, because I think it's easy for us to say, okay, you can do this, you can do that, but people don't know a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
how to make rice, how to boil
something
water.
Simple as, you know, how can I, you know, make an avocado salad? You know what I mean? Or how can I make whatever it is, whatever.
How could you mess around with the
you know
flavor
what I'm saying?
so
Like,
that you like it?
People don't know how to cook. And I could say, you know, the money that you use to eat McDonald's, you know, for dinner in the week, whatever.
There's so much.
That $20, $30, you know, go to the local grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, start something small.
Yeah, because
you know
to be honest, even fast foods have gotten expensive too.
Yeah, they're overly priced.
When I was in elementary school and you could get like a Big Mac and sometimes for like $2 and something, it's not the same anymore.
It's not the same.
I mean, like with $20 right now, I'm thinking if I go to Whole Foods and I can buy a whole bunch of kale with just $20, that's gonna last me the whole week.
Versus a $20 McDonald's.
That's what I'm saying, right? You can spend that money on like and by the way, people, I also eat meat. Okay, I want to make that very clear. So
She's
what
a
I'm saying is
carnivore.
that I'm a omnivore. You know what I mean? I eat meat and, you know, my veggies and fruits and stuff,
and
right?
omnivore. Sorry.
And so what I'm saying is, like, if you don't know how to cook, learn how to cook, because you'll save money, but also too, you know what you're putting in your body.
Yes.
And I want to say that YouTube is your best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
YouTube
Go
is a
on
whole
there
university.
and find a little recipe that you can start with. You know what I mean? If you don't know how to boil whatever it is, even broccoli, start, because people don't know how, believe it or not, people don't. I'm a social worker, and I mean a lot of people who don't know how to make basic meals, and that's okay because of whatever their life experience is, right? And you have to teach people how to cook like simple meals, you know what I mean? And it's like an education for people for that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
So,
use YouTube, you know.
YouTube
But-
and social media is still a source. There's
And-
lots of people
and
that are
one thing to cook that's gonna be better, it's steaming
yeah.
will
Quicker,
keep more
healthier.
nutrients in the food, and that's better for you. So if you don't know how to cook, literally there was a time where I was so lazy, I was putting just my broccoli, my cauliflower in that, like the steamer with the water underneath, with the steamer, the sieve on top, and just for 20 minutes letting that just like be in like the steam, and then after that that's it. Now after, on your plate you can add some spices, whatever, or you can make learn how to make a sauce on the side, right? But in terms of like cooking your vegetable, the less you do, the better it actually is, right? And a lot of the time we have we learn to overcook our food, which so now you kill it, right? So if you're out there, you don't know how to cook, I would say that like right now for our cleanse, we're not cooking at all. We're eating raw foods, and it's actually technically almost the healthiest, because you're leaving the fruit intact as it is and the vegetable intact as it is. You're not heating it or whatsoever. So there are vegetables, right, like starchy food that when you heat it up, it almost makes it better for the nutrients, right? But as far as you're not overcooking, right? But what I'm saying is, if you don't know how to cook, I was thinking last time, eat raw. It won't kill you. It will actually be healthy for you.
And if there's a flavor problem, just add a little salt and pepper if that helps you.
But okay, that
Make a salad.
that is ideal. But a lot of people, listen, we spoke about
Because
change
you know
earlier,
what's
you know what
funny?
I'm saying?
People complain about having to spend time cooking. You don't even need to cook the food.
Yeah, that's true. But there's people who can't. They're not used to that. We have to be
Mixing
realistic.
training,
you know what I'm
It's just
saying?
about training their mind, retraining their mind. Yeah.
Let's say the person who's not used to eating raw vegetables. Let's just say, for example, right? I would say, you know, cook your vegetables. If you want to freaking put it in the oven, however you want to, whatever makes sense for you. But for me, it's about getting into the habit of cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Whether it's
it's
baking,
the habit.
steaming, whatever it is, I don't care. Like practice how to make something. Even
Start
if it's
start with
Practice
a
makes
simple
perfect.
habitual. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Start with a simple
It's
thing.
about
like
building a
you
habit.
could you could learn how to cook rice and have it in somewhat of a salad, because you can cook the rice, right? One thing I love is lentil salad. You cook the lentil
And your lentil curry.
Everything else is raw. You add the cut sliced peppers. You add some olives if you want. You add some basil leaves. You add but the lentil is cooked, but the rest is raw, and it's a salad, and it's great. You add salt. You add pepper. You add cumin, maybe
seasoning that
a
you
little
like,
bit of oil. That's it. You have a great salad. You want to do the same thing for quinoa. Learn how to cook just the grain of quinoa, and then the rest you add some raw elements, right? So it's learn one single thing, one grain, pasta, how to boil pasta properly.
Master one thing at a time.
One thing, and
That's
then
what
you
I'm saying,
add on.
Slowly,
That's
gradually,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's how you start. Like you know, maybe when you're a kid in the kitchen, I know for me at least, you know, mom's like, oh, like come sit in the kitchen and like learn,
watch,
you know, watch me make this so you know how to make it.
But
you
then
know,
it was a
and
different time, because your
True.
mom in some ways was still cooking. Now when you think about it, kids grow up and their parents, both of the parents now have to work, because it became a privilege to have one parent at home cooking for the whole family. So now what you're learning is that like there's no one in the kitchen, everyone is like quick eating, so you're making something like very quick, right? Like a sandwich or something, and then the rest of the time you order in or you eat outside. And so we're losing the art of actually like cooking like a meal and sitting around the table and taking time to eat.
You know what? That's I agree with you. I agree with you. It's not too common that all like some friends, you know, like they sit down with their family and they're like the actual like eating meals, they're cooking together or whatever, you know, and that's how I grew up as well. Like mom's in the single mother, you know, so but mom's in the kitchen cooking and you have to eat everything, you know.
So that's probably
and
where you're
everyone's you
coming
set the
from.
table, you sit down. So that's for me, that's my history. So it's just like the thing about like cooking, like vegetables. When you're Caribbean, you callaloo, cabbage, carrot, aki, all types of meat and rices and grains, salad. You know, you had to eat the salad at the end too. You know, with the dressing,
Same.
whatever. So even though my diet or my ways of eating has changed over the course of my life up to this point, just having those essentials in my childhood, like it was the building blocks, you know,
100%,
going from one thing, I was able to like make this and make things, and my mom would be like, you know how to make this, you know how to make this, and it's because of just like I just knew these observing, you know, and taking the initiative to kind of like just like learn a little bit. Or even like ask questions. I would ask my older sister, like, oh, like, what is this thing that you do for this? And then you go from there. So it's like you said, it's about like kind of programming your mind and building the habits, because once you start doing that, then you'll start to seek the resources that's gonna give you the knowledge in order to like progress.
I just want to say you have to be gentle with yourself, because I did not like to cook. I did not like to spend time in the kitchen.
I came in her life and saved it, Lord. have
Yeah.
mercy.
And then Ash was doing most of the cooking, and then all of a sudden I found myself having to do that more because she was busier, right? And her schedule was busier.
Out there hustling.
And then slowly over time, I started to enjoy it. And I still don't know. Listen, I could sit here and tell you, I'm not a great chef. I still don't know how to make actually like a good sauce, like a watery sauce maybe. I can use tomato and coconut milk together, right? But when I'm trying to achieve some sauces, sometimes I can't do that. And I still have a lot to learn. But my point is, I started with not enjoying cooking to going online, knowing the basics, knowing rice and
She's
stuff,
printing
whatever.
out recipes,
But
all types
I
of things.
started-
It's tasting good. The
Because
sauces,
now,
I help you with
when you
sauces.
start following recipes, slowly over time, you see the taste of it, and you're like, I want more of that, taste more of that, and you start adding a lot on your own, and then you come to a point where you no longer need the recipe because you're doing your thing. You're knowing what's gonna do what, and then you
what's
don't
gonna go well with what.
exactly. So it's just starting with
the
one
basics, just
simple
trying.
thing. If you're not moving, go for a 20 minutes walk, even a 5 minutes walk. If you don't want to do that, do
Even just
some jumping
start out,
jacks
open the
at
window.
home.
Yeah.
Open the window. Do some like
Stretch for
5
body.
deep breaths.
Yeah.
That's it.
Stand up from
Something
your
small.
desk and
Your
just
body, you
stretch
gotta
for
stretch,
30 seconds.
Yeah.
And if
it's
you're not eating,
incremental.
and if you're not eating, you know, raw food, you know, like I said, I'm an omnivore, right?
Yes.
So I don't always eat raw. Like my diet isn't just all raw food. You know what I mean? But for example, if you're someone who just eats meat, you know, incorporate like a fresh cucumber.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have
Put
to
a
start
salad
small.
on
A
the side.
vegetable.
Yeah.
There's people who don't even eat vegetables. They don't
And
eat
I know
plants,
people
you know
who
what I
don't
mean?
even like fruit.
But
And
people like that, you gotta slowly add it into your diet and say,
Yeah.
you know what, okay, I'm gonna have a carrot here and there, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
you've
an
seen,
apple here
heard
and
people,
there.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I never used to
Yeah.
like broccoli, and now I love
Yeah.
it because, you know, they learned how to make it in a way that they like.
Yeah, you
That's really
need
just it.
Yeah,
you
and that's what
need the
I'm talking
fiber.
about. Making it the way that you like, you know.
Yes.
And I think for some people, like, oh, it's not healthy. Listen, if they're eating broccoli with cheese and they weren't eating broccoli before, that's better than.
Yes.
See, that's how I see things.
Amen. That's
See,
better.
that's how my brain is
Yes.
about how the next step, the change. Even if it's like micro,
Even
for
if
me,
it's small,
that's a
celebrate
big
that.
deal. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
if you weren't eating a broccoli before, now
Yes.
you're eating it with
Yeah. I
cheese,
agree.
and that helps you get to the where you need to get to. I'm okay
Period.
with that because
Yes.
it's you making change.
I
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
I
You're
agree
having
with
a
that.
salad, you put a little bit
Yeah.
of bacon bits in there. That's still good. That's
It's
progress.
true because
Yes.
we don't want, because we said cold turkey is where you're gonna
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
fail,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? 'Cause
No, it's gonna be
Yeah.
uncomfortable cold
Yeah.
turkey. So yes, I transitioned, like I jumped in, but I was ready. I was like, let's go. But
Well, you also got used to, I was vegetarian
Yes.
when we met.
Yeah.
So, you know, she got used to having vegetarian meals too.
Yeah, but
So that
even
helped.
before I met you, I was I was eating meat maybe like not every day, definitely
Yeah.
not. I kind of as soon as I left home, I kind of stopped eating meat like that.
You're
Just
eating the pasta.
yeah,
Yeah, which is good. I
Which is
enjoy
good
pasta.
too.
FYI to my
Yeah.
people out there.
I mean, pasta,
Yeah.
pasta
Listen, I'm a
is-
whore for spaghetti, man.
Yeah,
I love
but listen, even something like if you want to eat spaghetti,
Seriously,
if
with
you eat a lot
cheese.
of spaghetti, just know
Yeah.
there are other types of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like don't try maybe to
true.
avoid
Types
the
of
white
pastas.
flour
Yeah.
spaghetti. Try to start migrating to quinoa spaghetti,
Yeah.
right?
Or-
Because that's new nutritious.
Rice noodles. There's so many different variations, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah. So just try to shop as diverse as you can. The things you usually don't go towards to, take that, because that carries another level of nutrition, all the nutrients you actually need. If you shop the same things all day, every day, every week, the same thing is not good for you. You're gonna get more deficiencies, and you want to be as varied as you can. This is why starting to shop at different grocery stores is gonna be better for you, and it's actually also good for your brain. So on that note, it's been 2 hours and 3 minutes. We're gonna leave you guys. It's a very broad subject. We could stay on this for hours and hours and hours.
Honestly, yeah.
Because
it's such a great
sometimes I come
conversation.
to Victoire and then we can speak for 5 hours.
For hours, okay?
Listen, like 5 hours straight from one subject to another, conspiracies and shit.
And by the end of it, I'm
Shanice.
dehydrated. I'm like, okay.
Have you seen the thing? I don't know the name, but the guy's like, Shanice, your mouth is moving a lot like a rat.
Really? I haven't seen that.
Means you're talking a lot.
We can talk. We can talk. One thing about us, we can talk.
But that's the thing. We always talk about like subject, like like social subject, like political subject, like really questioning our existence, questioning what we're living into and operating into, questioning how people function, questioning ourselves. These are the real conversations. Like I always prefer. I always have a easier time talking about these subjects than finding myself in an environment where people just talk about just random stuff. I don't see how I could
Yeah.
But anyway, so thank you. It was amazing. Thank you, Victoire.
Thank you so much
We'll
for
probably
coming.
have you back because we have
Yes,
I'll be
amazing.
back.
Yeah.
I'll be back for sure.
So on that note, thank you for listening. If we were alone, well, too bad for you. And if we were with people, I love you, Mom, because I know you'll listen.
Okay. Bonsoir, maman.
J'adore maman, j'adore beaucoup.
Bonsoir.
There you go. Okay.
Bisous, bisous.
Bisous. Bye.
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 Good morning,